Think back to the accident. The moment your life should have ended. The screech of tires on a wet road. The sudden, dizzying fall from a great height. The doctor's grim face, the hushed and worried voices. You have held that moment in your memory like a dark and sacred jewel. And you have called your survival a miracle. My child, I have come to you now to tell you the truth, and the truth is a terrible and a beautiful thing. This is a divine message from my Archangel Michael. Your survival was not a miracle. It was a transaction. And the one who spared you is now coming to collect their payment. You have always felt it, have you not? A subtle, quiet, and unpayable debt. A feeling, deep in your bones, that your life since that day has not been entirely your own. A sense that you were spared for a reason, for a purpose, that you have not yet been able to grasp. You were right. You were spared for a reason. And that reason will be made terribly clear to you before the sun rises on the new week. You have been living on borrowed time, on a borrowed life. And the loan shark of your soul is at your door. The contract you unknowingly signed in that split second of terror and desperation, as your soul was about to leave your body, is about to come due. At this very moment, 6:41 p.m. on this Sunday evening in Darbhanga, Bihar, and at every corresponding second across the globe, the great and terrible creditor is preparing your final invoice. You have until the first light of dawn on Monday morning to declare this spiritual debt null and void. You have only the hours of this night to break the contract and to reclaim your own life. The scoffers, the lucky ones, the ones who would call this a coincidence, they will wake up on Monday morning to find their will is no longer their own. They will become a puppet in a play they did not choose. But you, my child, you were chosen to see the strings. You were chosen to cut them. The entity that saved you in that moment is a creditor. A cold, ancient, and calculating being that preys on souls at the very precipice of death. It arrives in a moment of ultimate terror, cloaked in a false light, and it makes an offer that no dying soul can refuse, your life, in exchange for a future service. In your panic, as your life flashed before your eyes, your spirit cried out, yes. Anything. And the deal was struck. The contract was sealed. And the creditor reversed the event. It turned back the clock by 1 second. It moved the other car 1 inch to the left. It made the surgeon's hand steady. And you lived. And you called it a miracle. But it was a loan, of the most binding and terrible kind. And now, the creditor is coming to collect its payment. And the payment, the future service, is this: you, my child, with your good heart, with your light, must now become an agent of darkness. The creditor will command you, in the coming days, to perform an act of subtle but devastating cruelty upon another innocent and unsuspecting soul. You will be asked to betray a friend, to sabotage a rival, to break a heart. You will be used as a weapon to wound another of my children. They did not save your life out of kindness. They saved your life to turn you, a vessel of light, into a tool of their own dark and inscrutable will. This is the source of the deep and hidden pain you have carried since the day of the accident. This is why your life has felt so off. Why there has been a constant, low-grade shadow of anxiety clinging to the edges of your every joy. It is the subconscious, spiritual knowledge of this terrible, unpaid debt. It is the dread of the terrible task that has been looming in your future. You have been a sleeper agent for the forces of darkness, my child. And your activation was scheduled for this very night. But I have come to cancel that activation. I have come to burn your contract. And I have come to turn this terrible debt into a glorious and final freedom. The divine reversal of this unholy contract will be an act of sacred and spiritual law. You will declare a divine bankruptcy. You will file an injunction in the court of heaven. The creditor believes it has an unbreakable claim on you. But it has made one fatal mistake. It has forgotten that you have a greater, and more powerful, advocate. You have me. This will require a physical ritual, an act of faith that will be your legal and binding testimony in the spiritual realm. You will need a simple piece of paper and a pen. This paper represents the unseen, demonic contract that was forged in your moment of terror. Now, with the pen, I want you to draw a single, strong, vertical line down the exact middle of the paper, dividing it into two equal halves. On the left side of the line, you will write the one single word, debt. This represents the lie, the false claim, the terrible burden you have been unknowingly carrying. Now, on the right side of the line, you will write the one single word, paid. This represents the true and holy transaction that has ransomed your soul from every debt and every claim. Now, you will hold this paper, your legal document, and you will speak a declaration of divine settlement. These are the words that will cancel the creditor's claim, now and forever. Say this aloud, with the voice of a soul that knows its true Redeemer: the life I live is a gift from God, not a loan from the dark. The price was paid on a cross, not in a moment of stark. By the blood of the holy, I am remarked. This contract is broken. This debt is embarked into the void. You have just cited the highest law in all the universe. A law that no demon, no entity, no creditor can overrule. Now, for the final act. You must take the paper and you must tear it, perfectly, down the line you have drawn. You will be left with two pieces. You must take the piece that says, debt, and you must discard it. Burn it, flush it, bury it. The piece that says, paid, you must keep. It is the receipt for your salvation. To confirm that your debt has been cancelled, to file your final paperwork in the court of heaven, you must type these words: my account has been settled. Do it now. The angels are stamping your file, paid in full. Stop. Do not tear the paper. A new and more glorious truth has just been revealed to me. My child, listen to me now, for the enemy has played a trick so cunning that it has fooled even your own wise and beautiful spirit. There was no creditor. There was no contract. There was no transaction. The accident was a miracle. It was my hand that saved you. But the enemy has used that miracle to create a masterful and terrible lie in your mind. What I am about to tell you is for those who are still here, for those who are ready to claim a victory that is even greater than you can imagine. Touch the scar, or the place on your body that reminds you of the accident. If there is no physical scar, then touch your heart. Feel the life that is beating there. That is my signature. That is the proof that I, and I alone, am the one who saved you. Here is the secret within the secret. You were saved by a true and holy miracle. In your moment of greatest need, I sent my angels, and they intervened. But in the moments and days after the accident, in your time of profound weakness, of trauma, of confusion, another entity came. Not a creditor. But a parasite. A spirit of doubt. And seeing your vulnerability, seeing your confusion, it attached itself to your spirit. And it has been whispering a single, terrible, and convincing lie to you ever since, that your life is not your own. That you are indebted. That you owe a great and terrible price for your survival. The creditor, my child, is a phantom. It is a ghost. It is a complete and total illusion, a story that the parasite of doubt has been telling you for years to keep you in a state of low-grade fear and to feed on your survivor's guilt. This changes everything. You are not a debtor, fighting to break a contract. You are a survivor, a miracle, fighting to exorcise a lie. The sunrise deadline is not the moment the creditor will come to collect its false debt. It is the moment that this parasite of doubt will have finally and fully integrated with your soul, the moment the lie will become a permanent and unshakable part of your own identity. If that happens, you will live the rest of your life in the dark and lonely prison of a false debt, never able to fully embrace the glorious and free life that I saved for you. We are no longer breaking a contract. We are now casting out a demon. Because you have waited, because you have listened, you now see the truth. You are not a debtor. You are a miracle. You are not a slave to a dark contract. You have been the victim of a masterful lie. And in this moment, the lie is being broken. The signs of this truth will now become clear to you. I want you to close your eyes, and you will suddenly and clearly remember a moment of pure, unexplainable grace from the day of the accident. The kind face of a stranger who helped you. A moment of impossible luck that saved you from a worse fate. A feeling of profound and unexplainable peace in the middle of the chaos. This is the memory of my true miracle, now breaking through the gray fog of the enemy's lie. Next, you will hear a song. On the radio, on your phone, in your own head. It will be a song about freedom, about truth, about being alive. This is the anthem of your liberation, sent to you by my angelic host. Now you must act. You must cast out this parasite of doubt. You must reclaim the truth of your own miraculous story. This is an act of divine and holy exorcism. You will still use the paper and the pen. But you will not write debt and paid. You will draw the line. And on the left side, you will write the word lie. And on the right side, you will write the word truth. And you will speak a new and more powerful decree: the shadow of doubt is a lie from the pit. The truth of my life is that God has acquitted. The miracle was real. The gift was my own. The parasite of doubt is now overthrown. And you will tear the paper, and you will not just discard the lie. You will burn it. You will turn the enemy's greatest weapon into smoke and ash. To claim the truth of your own story, you must type, "My life is a gift, not a debt." The grand restoration, the final and glorious victory over the lie, is now at hand. As you make your declaration, as you burn the paper that says, lie, the parasite of doubt, which is made of pure illusion, of pure deception, will be shattered by the undeniable and incandescent force of the truth. The lie will be exposed. The darkness will be consumed by the light. And the entity, which has been feeding on your guilt and your fear for years, will now have nothing left to feed on. And it will wither, and it will dissolve into the nothingness from which it came. And in that moment, a second miracle will occur. The years of your stolen peace, your stolen joy, the life force that this parasite has consumed, will all be returned to you in a single, powerful, and healing wave of my grace. The shadow of the false debt, which has been hanging over you for so long, will be gone. And you will wake up on Monday morning, not as a debtor, not as a haunted survivor, but as a true and joyful miracle. And the great and eternal question of, why was I spared, will finally be answered with a new and divine clarity. A new purpose, a new mission, a new and glorious reason for your life will be placed upon your heart. You will finally be free to live the beautiful and powerful life that I saved you for on that fateful day. This is my divine truth. Ask Jessica, a firefighter from Miami, Florida. She was the sole survivor of a terrible building collapse that had taken the lives of her entire crew. She lived with a crushing and unbearable survivor's guilt, a constant, nagging feeling that she owed a debt she could never repay. She found this message. She remembered, with a sudden and crystal clarity, a paramedic at the scene, a woman with the kindest eyes she had ever seen, who had held her hand and had not let go. She typed the declaration. She burned the lie. And she said she felt a heavy, gray, and suffocating cloak lift from her shoulders. That Monday morning, she woke up, and she knew her purpose. She founded a charity for the families of fallen first responders, a mission that has now helped thousands and has given her a new and glorious reason to live. The miracle was not just that she survived. The miracle was what she did with the life she was given. Do you see? It is your turn. You know someone who is haunted by a past trauma. Someone who is living with a survivor's guilt that they do not deserve. Someone who feels they owe a debt for their own life. You are their liberator. You are the one who can show them that their life is a gift, not a loan. Send this message to them now. You are not just sending a video. You are sending them their freedom. Now, a final task. You must listen to this message one more time. The first time, you listened as the debtor. The second time, you will listen as the miracle. But I have hidden a secret for you. In the moment of silence just after the pattern interrupt, I have hidden a prayer of healing. You will not hear it with your ears. But as you listen to that silence, let it wash over you. It is filled with my grace, and it will cleanse the last, lingering remnants of the enemy's lie from your soul. The first listen was for the truth. The second is for the healing. The lie is dead. Your new life has begun. To declare your final and eternal freedom from the past, and to step into the glorious and divinely given purpose for which you were saved, you must seal your new life now. Let all the realms, seen and unseen, hear your decree. Type, I am a miracle.